Right, finally we are done with our expansion phase. Now we can sit down and chill out and actually develop our cities so we can get more research, most importantly, and also so we can progress through our missions here that make us, that need us to develop our capital first and foremost, and also Byzantium. We're the academy. We're gonna get another academy, I think. Obviously, we're just going to build a whole bunch of stuff that gets more nobles and citizens and more research overall. City of Zepoetes. I'm going to say Zepoetes. That's what I'm going to say. It's truly our home. There is no other place like it. Boom. Okay, now this has been renamed to Zepoetion. Developing food stores, Madra, Clone, and Miletopolis. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say, man. Alright, cool. More food. Cities of Bithynia gain access to a unique character interaction that will allow the current ruler of Bithynia to establish a Bithynian city. Oh yes, this is something unique to the Bithynians. This is really cool, by the way. Reputation as city builders is predicated upon our vast experience honed by years of successful building programs. As a result of our architectural expertise, a Bithynian city is like no other. Boom. We shall continue to build cities in the Bithynian style. It takes a lot of money. It's essentially like you're building a city, but you put this on existing cities and it gives it like a bonus. So we need to make 2 Bithynian cities, so we need to save up for that. We'll get the manpower, and we'll get this. Boom. Good. Byzantium, the ancient city built by Byzas of Megara, lies directly to our west and was once a fierce competitor of ours. We have eclipsed their glories with our own. So there is an undeniable potential in this city, and we predict great things for this city on the Bosphorus. As the importance of Byzantium has grown, we have decided in the name of political expedience to reconsider the status quo and release Byzantium as a feudatory, but with a new name, Byzantium. Let the proud Byzantines manage their own affairs while acknowledging our overlordship. There is still so much more work to be done in Asia. Let them be free. Okay, well that was Bithynian? Oh yeah, because they're feudatory. So they were made Bithynian. Looking at our levies, we have a lot of heavy infantry, a lot of light infantry. I think it just makes sense to go for Falx and Sika, I guess. We can also go slave raiding, eventually at some point. Alright, so we built this farming settlement here. You guys are clearly struggling with food, not surprisingly. So I'm just going to sell this territory to you so you can feed yourself. There we go. Okay, we have so much stability at this point. I think it's a missed opportunity not to go for this. If I had more zeal, I'd be able to go Divinity Statute. Unfortunately, I'm 1 short. That is so unfortunate. So currently we have 15 levies. I think we go Royal Guard and just make a legion just immediately. That's what we do. It'll be a small one, but it'll be a very professional one. And we can afford it, honestly. So let's go for it. Go Royal Guard. What are our levies looking at? 8? Okay, fair. I actually don't have the money for it yet, I don't think so. I'll wait a little bit. Chios and Galatia is at war. Okay. That is definitely my cue to attack. I think I'll wait until I die to make sure my realm doesn't explode. Nicomedes' son, Beobres, helped his uncle in a plot to steal gold from his own father. And now the 2 brothers are rivals. That is some next level backstabbing. Oh my god. Something I really like is the God of War that we've somehow rolled. I don't know if this is scripted, the scripted God of War for the Bithynians to have in their pantheon. I don't know if this pantheon is scripted or if it's just a complete coincidence. But I really like how our God of War, Enyo, which is the first time I've literally ever heard of this god, or goddess actually, is responsible for orchestrating the destruction of cities. And I like the idea of her being our deity of war because I guess in a way, the Bithynians, we Bithynians, when we conquer a city, we do in a way, I guess, destroy it. Not necessarily actually raise it to the ground, but we change it we form it into our own Bithynian image of what a city should look like. In a way, destroying what the city formerly was into something new. And I really like that. I really think it's perfect that we have Enyo as our deity of war. That fits absolutely perfectly for the Bithynians. And if this is scripted, that just makes sense. But if this is complete coincidence, that is genuinely amazing, and I really want to build a holy site for her immediately. I think I can almost. I almost can. I'm going to save though for Legion, because I think I was going to build a Legion. But I think as soon as possible, before I also actually create Bithynian cities, I want to make a holy site for Enyo. That'd be really cool. Chaos is gone. There goes the myth of Dadids. But now, at least that makes my life easier in destroying Taeon, so we're just gonna immediately do that. And put the Brothers of Enyo or, yeah, anyways. Alright, their first battle. Let's see what happens here. I expect... Yep. We just stack wiped them. Are you serious? Earthquakes! I had to build up my navy because the Galatians won't give me military access. So I have to sail over to Sinope. My demise is being planned. You don't like to see that. That's something you don't want to see. We're honestly doing very well, though. Our economy's nice. We have some vassals that can help us in war against the Seleucids. Or the Lysimachus. They have a huge amount of vassals, though. Ah, there we go. I'm dead. And no succession crisis. Nice. Alright, we can now do heading east. Gain claims on the provinces of Paphlagonia Inferioris and Paphlagonia Superioris. Gain some manpower and some national commerce. The hills and mountains of Mariandinia are an open door. I would like to go into Galatia immediately. Oh my god, there were the Antipatriots. Of course I would love to go them against them. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm quite intimidated by the Lysimachids. So I feel they're very strong. They're very strong. I'm not a pushover myself. I have a lot of money. I can get a lot of mercenaries. I can do sort of a preemptive strike against the Lysimachids. While the Antipatrids and Galatians are occupied fighting each other, that means my eastern border is secure for now, but the west is quite threatened. So I should definitely turn around and attack the Lysimachids as soon as possible to guarantee a swift campaign in the east. So I'm going to prepare for war with the Lysimachids, and I'm going to get an extra claim as well. I should also mention that my heir is married to an Alchemachid. So... yeah... sorry. And we're just gonna do this. Hold on. Oh, she's about to come of age? Perfect. Okay, hopefully she doesn't die. Right, anyways. The Lysimachers were far too much of a threat to Bithynian sovereignty to be left alone in the west. Regardless of who would start the war, it was inevitable, due to the strategic and economic importance of controlling both sides of Propontis. The trade ships going to and from the Black Sea had to stop at one of the many coastal cities of Propontis to resupply, buying up whatever wares they needed, ultimately contributing to the city's local economy. Nicomedes took command of the royal army and marched across the Bosphorus and into Europa, marking the beginning of the Propontic War. Nicomedes was accompanied by his two brothers, Hipparchus and Arion, the governors of Thrace and Asia respectively. Together, the combined forces amassed to 8,000 men. It was further supplemented with 11,000 Greek mercenaries under the command of Menelaos. The cities of Byzanthi and Bergula were the first to face the wrath of Enyo. Despite being cities with a predominantly Propontic population, they still swore allegiance to the Lysimachids. Therefore, all of their riches were taken, and a quarter of their populations were put to the sword. The Bithynian navy also had the important job of seeking and destroying the Lysimachid navy before it linked up with its Bosporan allies. A successful ambush had been launched on the Lysimachid fleet, heading towards the Black Sea, and with the help of a small Byzantine contingent, the Lysimachids retreated back west of the Hellespont to Lysimachia. Some months later, the fleet was caught again trying to cross the Propontis into the Black Sea. Despite the Bithynian fleet being outnumbered, the Lysimachid fleet was not prepared for a battle, and so fought with very low morale, allowing the Bithynians to surprise them and even capture some warships. With the Lysimachid fleet now being soundly defeated, the Bithynians were now able to aid the army in the ongoing siege of Lysimachia by blockading its port. 2 attempts were made to lift the siege of the city. However, both attempts would ultimately fail, and on the 4th of June, 270 BC, Lysimachia fell. The city was sacked mainly by the hired Greek mercenaries who took the majority of the city's riches. This was, rather reluctantly, accepted by Nicomedes, who saw it as a form of payment to the mercenaries. After word had reached of the fall of Lysimachia, Pyrrhus of Epirus wasted no time in launching an invasion of the Triballians, the Lysimachids' Thracian allies in the northwest. This would alleviate some pressure off of the Bithynians, as now the Triballians retreated from Thrace to protect their homelands. A year later, an allied force attempting to retake Lysimachia was caught by Nicomedes. The allies were defeated and forced to retreat west past the Evros River. Little did they know that the Bithynian fleet had been waiting in the river. Anyone who dared cross would have to face a deadly storm of arrows, making it nearly impossible to do so. At the same time, Nicomedes followed behind very closely, and before the allies could attempt to move up north to find a different crossing point, they had been completely surrounded. All 6,000 men left in the allied army were massacred, completely destroying any meaningful resistance left. A year later, the war came to an end in 268 BC. The Lysimachids were forced to cease accepting tributary payments from the Bosporan city-states, effectively making them independent. All Lysimachid possessions in Thrace were transferred to Bithynia, and the kingdom of the Odrysians, Thracian cousins of the Bithynians, was re-established in their historical region. Finally, the Lysimachids were forced to pay an annual tribute to Bithynia for the duration of the truce. Bithynia now had complete control of the Hellespont and Propontis. This was a great economic boon, as they now had a monopoly on all trade going through the Bosphorus. Lysimachia would quickly fall out of grace, as the city would not be maintained by the Bithynian kings. Its population would massively decrease over the years and would eventually lose its status as a polis. Just got an event that the Galatians, the leader of the Galatians, Lutarius Truckmid, is actually trying to befriend me, which is interesting. I'm not sure why they're trying to befriend me. I was planning to declare war on them, but I said, I'd rather not do that right now, so sure. We're friends with the leader of the Galatians, I guess. Right. Over the past few years after the war, Bithynia successfully incorporated most of the Bosporan city-states into its sphere of influence. The city of Istros, who up to this point stubbornly remained independent, faced a Getae invasion, with Istros being completely unable to defend against the more numerous Getae. They sent a call for help to Nicomedes. 4 years later, the Getae had been defeated and forced to pay tribute as punishment. Meanwhile, Istros also agreed to pay tribute to Bithynia in exchange for Nicomedes' assistance. In 260 BC, the Basileus of the Bosporan kingdom, Diodotus, sent an emissary to Bithynia seeking protection from the Sarmatians, who recently invaded and conquered Taurica. Nicomedes obliged and vowed to eventually liberate the Bosporans of Taurica from barbarian rule. With a strong power base now secure and a network of vassals and tributaries established, Nicomedes now shifted his focus inwards to begin developing the lands that he had conquered. He would first commission the renovation of the capital of Zipotion, making it the first of the so-called Bithynian cities. Okay, it is now finally time for us to start developing our realm and building cities and changing cities into Bithynian cities. Bithynian cities have a unique province rank that can only be gained with this interaction. This interaction can only be taken every 25 years unless the mission task Cities of Bithynia has been completed. It's a long time. But we click on this and we can click on whatever city we want to give the modifier. Of course, we're going to choose the capital first. And then boom, I think something might pop up. Event maybe? I don't know. Okay, so you have to wait a year, it seems, for it to actually be done. It's like as if you're building a new city. Also, this is what the West looks like. It's quite odd. Delphi has taken Epirus. Epirus has migrated deeper into the Balkans. They're also landlocked. These guys are vassals of Turiscia, who took southern Italy from Epirus. They're about to have a civil war, it seems. Turiscia is just here. They just integrated Rome. They're chilling. They are actually not chilling. They're very unstable. And this is what the East looks like. We have received word from our chief builders that a new Bithynian city has been completed. The city boundaries have been drawn with meticulous attention paid to designing the expanded infrastructure that distinguishes our cities from those of all others. Already, the various skilled hired hands required for the construction, stonemasons, mosaicists, day laborers, woodworkers, blacksmiths, wheelwrights, and countless others with jobs far too numerous to mention have received their generous wages from the Bithynian treasury and have returned home, hoping beyond hope that they receive similar employment in the future. Marvelous news. Now the modifier, Bithynian City, gives plus 10 pop capacity, plus 1 local import route, plus 10% local civilization, and plus 1 base resource. That's actually just insane. That's insane. Well, you want to know what's funny about Bithynia, right? Is that they get access to this Bithynian city special modifier, which helps immensely in building tall. Like this is just the perfect modifier to build super tall, right? But then the mission tree itself is ultra wide. Can go multiple routes with Bithynia. You could either stop at some point in the mission tree and just play ultra wide with the Bithynian cities, and then after a certain point when you've like maximized your economy and built a whole bunch of Bithynian cities, then you can continue down in the mission tree and just conquer literally everything. It's a very good mix of playing tall and playing wide at the same time. Oh, my second born, who's married to someone with Mithridatic blood, is castrated. You're gonna have to be divorced. I'm sorry, but you can't. Sorry, you can't. You can't have any children. I just like to let you know that I make 7.5 gold from tributes alone. My economy is carried by my subjects, and this is very good, honestly. I really like to play this way because it allows me to create a power base at the beginning of the game, right, of vassals to get a lot of tribute from, and with that tribute, with that income, the massive amount of income, I can then stop for a moment in the campaign and build up my realm a lot faster than I would be able to normally if I didn't have all these vassals. So it allows you to build up your realm very quickly. Because if I were to, for example, right, all these vassals that I have here, if I were to have conquered all these lands, I wouldn't be making nearly as much money in total from all these provinces if I control them directly. But not only that, but I don't have to deal with all the unrest and the loyalty and the fact that honestly my governorships would be much larger than my capital province, right? And that wouldn't be helpful to me. They'll make the governors very, very disloyal to me. And overall, it would just be a hassle, really. Just be a big old hassle. So it's honestly just way better to have these guys as vassals for now. It also feels like it's more realistic in how an empire is organically formed and how, like, real life historical realms were run. Not everything was managed by the state completely. Vassals existed in, like, every state had a vassal, essentially. Oh, wait, I was saving up to do Bithynian cities again, but I forgot I have to wait 25 years. Istros, really? Tribute ceases for what reason? I'm sure they were loyal. All of my vassals are loyal. I'm confused. Not able to pay tribute. Are they in debt? Oh, I think they might be in debt. They're now officially a client state, so they cannot break free. They are forced into this agreement. They're forced into closer ties with the kingdom. And in exchange for that, we get them out of debt, essentially. I guess. That's our roleplay. In exchange for them having closer ties and going into a further subordinate role under the Bithynian kingdom, we shall take on their debt, essentially. It is so incredibly cheap to build cities as Bithynia. We've subdued the lands around us, a gargantuan task worthy of Heracles himself, but security is an ever-elusive thing. Let us ensure our control of our homelands by erecting fortifications to protect us from our many rivals for power. Only a fool or madman would try to attack us now. I mean, honestly, yeah, at least from the east. Those forts are quite formidable. We have 10 fort infrastructure now over here. That's crazy. We can also do expanding the navy. This is only the beginning. We do Bithynian commanders. Only the finest military minds should command our soldiers. Let us find a suitable leader to inspire our men to greater and greater victories. Then gains plus 10% spearman discipline. Okay. Capital Legion of Bithynia will gain military bonuses. The Legion with at least 10 units. Can I? Yes, I can. I can actually do that. The military parade has just drawn to a close, and even a battle-hardened skeptic like yourself is impressed by the organization and discipline of the ranks that stand at attention. You have seen many fights in your many years. All of this is a matter of record, but you struggle to remember a foe as courageous as the army that gathers before you, awaiting your command. Woe betide the enemies of Bithynia. 3 cheers for our fighting men. Did I miss something? Where's the military bonus? New title. Have a legion in the capital region that has at least 20 units and 5 distinctions. Okay. Well, anyways, it's time to put this legion to work because there are new developments in Crimea. In 251, the Bosporan cities of Taurica staged a rebellion against the Yazygian Sarmatians. The Tauricans sent a call for help to Nicomedes, reminding him of his pledge to liberate their people. He accepted the call, and in about 6 months, Nicomedes and the brothers of Enyo landed in Taurica. The first and second battles of Carchanitis were the most decisive of engagements in the war. The first battle started with a small rebel force being attacked by a larger Sarmatian warband. The battle would have ended in a quick defeat for the rebels if it weren't for Nicomedes arriving just in time to rally the Greeks, who had largely already begun retreating, and launch a counteroffensive. After the first warband had been defeated, Nicomedes and the Greeks had very little time to reorganize, as they were almost immediately attacked by another fresh warband. It had seemed that the Bithynians would very soon lose the battle. However, a relief force of 11,000 Greek mercenaries from the Bosporan city of Calatis landed and reinforced Nicomedes' army. Due to the relatively low morale and unreadiness to be immediately engaged in another battle, the Bithynians would eventually be overwhelmed by the increasing number of warbands joining the battle. Nicomedes retreated his army to the nearby Parthenion, but his army was once again caught and defeated. Astonishingly, facing 2 crushing defeats back to back, Nicomedes was still able to rally his Bithynians and the Calatian mercenaries into an orderly retreat through friendly Nurian lands. Eventually, the Sarmatians sued for peace, taking the city of Pentacapion, leaving the rest of Bosporan and Taurica to its own devices, which in the end gave the majority of Bosporan cities independence. Well, that was definitely a very devastating war for us, but I would say that the main objective was accomplished. and that is protecting and ensuring the independence of the Bosporans in Crimea. The Sarmatian horde might have taken the very important strategic fort of Panticapion, but at the very least, a new fort is being built here in Charax. And at the very least, the Bosporan kingdom of Taurica has its independence from the uncivilized Sarmatian hordes, and they have such low stability. She's about to die. I really hope that they just collapse. I think if they're under 30 stability, I'm not sure honestly, but under a certain threshold of stability, tribes can just completely collapse after the death of their ruler. And I think they might have passed this threshold at, I think it's under 30, I'm not sure. But we'll see what happens. They might go into a civil war. But yeah, we have a truce anyway, so we can't really do anything about that. Till 508, it's not a long truce. So we've been raided by barbarians. I wonder who those barbarians are. I'm in debt now. That's really cool. That's... wow. Okay. Our army had to retreat all the way through Scythia to get to safety. Luckily, I was able to get military access to these guys. Oh, wow! Okay. The Nurians actually allied the Tauricans. That's really cool, honestly. That's a very good alliance for them to have. A few years later, in 246 BC, the Sarmatians had fallen into civil war. Seizing the opportunity, Nicomedes sent his army under the command of one Zepoites Zilid to Taurica in preparation for an invasion. Zepoites was an extremely skilled veteran of the Propontic and First Sarmatian Wars, who had steadily climbed the ranks, and even noticed by Nicomedes himself, who entrusted him with the command of the royal army. Zepoites would also be supported by the same Greek mercenaries from Colaptis who had helped in the First Sarmatian War. The invasion was launched in August, and in just 64 days, the fortress of Panticapion fell. Shortly after, Nicomedes I passed away on his deathbed, passing on the throne to his son Nicomedes II. In only a year, Maeotia and Maeotia Minoris was fully occupied, and the Yazakians sued for peace immediately after. Nearly all of the Maeotian coast was returned back to the Bosporan kingdom, while the tribe of the Maeotians were liberated. The liberation of the Cimmerian Bosporans was now complete, and in due time, the free Taurican cities would fully integrate with the Bosporan kingdom. In 237, Nicomedes launched a campaign against the Crobysians, a Thracian people of close relation, who had yet to fall into the Bithynian sphere of influence. In a few months, they were overrun and forced to pay tribute. The eastern half of their territory, Crobysia proper, was taken, and a city in Abritus was created. This city would represent the eastern civilized and centralized Crobysia as a contrast to the less developed and decentralized west. Eventually, the city would be given self-rule with the end goal of having influence over all of Crobysia, unifying it under a centralized kingdom ruling at the behest of Bithynian interest. In 230, the Macedonians fell into civil war. Nicomedes sent his trusted commander, Zepoites, to invade the land held by the rebelling faction. One by one, Amphipolis and Cassandria were sacked, with most of Chalkidiki falling. Then, the cities of Lamnos, Eritrea, Styria, Charisto, and Naxos were also sacked. The conflict came to an end by 228, and as a result, the remainder of the province of Rhodope and parts of Chalkidiki were conquered. The Thessalian port city of Pagasai, along with various territories in the province of Athenae, were also acquired. Many city-states, including Eritrea, Oreus, Naxos, and Corinthos, were liberated as well. In the east, the Ptolemaic kingdom had came out on top as the most powerful of the eastern Diadochi, and were steadily advancing further and further into central Anatolia. They would eventually declare war on the Galatians, provoking Nicomedes to also invade Galatia from the west to ensure that the Ptolemaics couldn't take too much. And so, by 221 BC, Galatia became fully partitioned between Bithynia and Egypt. By 219, client states were created to take some of the strain off of the overextended administration. In the final few decades of the 3rd century BC, Bithynia stands as the most powerful and influential kingdom of Western Anatolia and Thrace, exerting massive influence from Getia to Miletos, and from Greece to the Bosporan kingdom in Chimeria, harboring a hybrid Greco-Thracian identity mixing Greek pikemen phalanxes with Thracian falx and Sicca, building Hellenic cities with its own unique Bithynian flair. That does it for our Bithynia campaign. If you enjoyed, please feel free to hit the like button and subscribe if you are new. I want to also wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. If you do not celebrate Christmas or the New Year, then I hope you at least have fun spending time with your family. It's been Alton, signing out. See ya.